Today we look ahead to week 3 and what to expect. We get confirmation on the ISENC conference. We see the tweet of the week and further training opportunities. We get an exclusive look at the Who's Who'd guide for 2018. And finally, stay tuned to find out more. Guys, what a fantastic introduction that was. Lots of hours wasted on doing the news desk. I think let's go back to some chilled out beats before this gets a little bit out of hand. Oh, a second. That's better, isn't it? Excellent. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Okay, so like I say, we're going to have a look first at what to expect moving ahead to week 3. Then we're going to have a look at the ISEC conference, tweet of the week and training opportunities. And then I've done a Who's Who guide, so I promised that I'd put something together. And we're going to have a look at a few other bits and pieces as well. So first things first would be to just have a little look at the different modules that we've got. So I'm just going to kill the music a little bit. Let me go. Excellent. So episode 3, we finally made it. Just remember, I got the chat open in the background as well. So if we need to have a bit of a discussion, then we can do. And if you've got any questions, burning issues, then please ask and I can try and address them as soon as I can. I'm hopefully going to try and answer some of the questions that were raised last time as well. Just some little issues that I couldn't answer straight away. So just bear with it and we'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to start with is nutrition and performance. Now, this is the first session you guys got from me this year. Now, Jane is going to focus on fats and proteins, but from a sport and exercise nutrition perspective. Now, you'll have concepts this afternoon, but concepts next week is also going to have fats and proteins in the session. So you'll have a nice join up of getting a session from Jane on Tuesday session, and then followed up nicely on concepts and principles of nutrition on the Thursday. Following the lecture session, you're going to head back to the labs, and we're going to have our substrate usage practical session again with me. Now, one of the questions that was asked last week was regarding a Thursday session for you guys. Now, I double checked with Jane. I kind of knew this anyway, but you guys don't have a session on a Thursday, okay? So you share this module with our level 6 students or our third year students. They do the module in a slightly different way to you guys. We make the module much more specific to MSc students. So that's why I only get you guys on a Tuesday afternoon, and all of your practical sessions will only be MSc students on that Tuesday afternoon. So no Thursday session at all. If any student has identified where you guys can see a Thursday session, please do let Jane know, because it's clearly adding a little bit of confusion to your timetable, your schedule. So let us know, point it out to us, and we'll get it removed and go from there. But the next session will be with me on next Tuesday. But I said to you guys last time that we were going to talk through and put a video up. Now, I haven't prepared the video yet because I've just been a little bit busy, but essentially we're going to have a summary video of me discussing how the lab went, different things that we could possibly work on ahead of the practical session next Tuesday, but more specifically talking about the gas calculations. Now, if you weren't there at the session, I think most of you were there at the session, but if you weren't there, you could take a look at this this document here, these 2 videos and the document here, to look at the practical schedule, and we're going to be running through that exact same thing again. But what I am going to add to the Blackboard site as well is the following Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so let me just get a chance to get across here and we'll have a look at it properly. So, excuse me, it's a bit small. Here we are. So you can see that there's a fairly complicated Excel spreadsheet sat here. Now, you can see at the bottom, you won't be able to see that at the bottom here. Let me just see if I can just get that so you can see it. Okay, I'm sat in the way and all of my filters are showing it, but you will see at the bottom of this spreadsheet that there are 3 different Excel spreadsheets to look at. The first one is the gas calc explanation. The second one is a blank gas calculation sheet, which looks a bit like this. And then the third one, as I've already subbed in some example data, just so you can get a bit of a feel for what this kind of looks like and how it's used. Now, if we go back to the gas calc explanation sheet, you will see here that there's various comments laid over the Excel spreadsheet with me explaining what all of these different cells mean. So the purpose of this video is not to go through all of these different bits and pieces, but simply to signpost that I'm going to be posting this up so you can take a look. Now, very briefly though, you can see here that we've got the stage minutes, so that would be referred to the first stage of exercise that we're doing in that practical, and the second stage. Then we've got bag volume in litres, so when we've extracted all of the air out of our bag to determine the total amount of litres in the bag, you'll be able to put it in there. We know that we've time sampled for 60 seconds. We've got the ambient temperature of the sample, which for most people will be room temperature. And then we've got the O2 and CO2 content of the bags. Now, I explain all of this, what it means, what it refers to, but it gives you a bit of a snapshot as to giving a little bit of context as to when we've extracted all of the information from our Douglas bags, how on earth are we going to then go and use that information? And this is the sheet that we would use. And you can see, take the chance to just have a little look around the sheet. Now, the best place to do that might be the gas calc example form. Now, thankfully, this is some comments from my PhD supervisors. This is where the sheet originates from. So this is Dr. Stuart Galloway. He's the chair of the board of the Senate Register, so he's fairly switched on, put it that way. And he's provided some example data here for you to look at and some comment as to what the hell's going on. So you can see here that they're actually looking at fasted versus fed state exercise here. So you can see there's a slight protocol here, which explains what's going on. And then we've got Stewie G's explanation here. So take the time to have a look at that. It will help to give context. And also, when we get your Google form data out the back of it, you'll be able to sub that data into this sheet and start getting some meaningful and useful information from it. So hopefully you will find that useful, and we can go from there. So let's just bring back up our thing. Now, those were the 2 things that Jane wanted me to point out to you guys. So one would be that the first lecture session will be on the fats and protein and their role that they play within a nutrition and performance kind of setting, and then the timetable clarity on the Tuesday. Now, I will take the opportunity to upload that form, and there will be a follow-up video when I just get a chance to record it, hopefully this afternoon. I can't guarantee that because I'm a little busy today, but I will try and get it up as soon as I can. Okay, let's move on to, I think we're on practitioner skills for sports nutritionists. Excellent, here we go. So with Sanjoy next week, he has a 2-part session coming up once again. So you're going to be working on client communication skills, and you'll have a visiting lecturer, which is Dr. Meera Kumar, who's an NHS doctor who specializes in communication with patients. So day in, day out, face-to-face interactions with patients, probably telling them some pretty bad things, and also encouraging them to follow a particular treatment pathway, which is really, really nice examples that you could use for using on a nutrition strategy. So make sure you get yourself to this session and have a look. Now, the second part of the session will be a kind of clients and sporting needs analysis. So a kind of an opportunity to sort of explore the process of conducting a needs analysis for your clients and identifying what information you need to collect in order to effectively do that. This will then lead into the development of a client needs analysis template that you could then use to begin to create during your session. So if you can start to create a client needs analysis form, if you are planning on going into your own practice after the course, or if you're trying to set up your client practice now, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. This would be a nice framework for you to start developing that, so that you've got a nice professional outlook when you then take part in any client consultations that you undertake. So the final thing that he's passed on is that he's made reference, apparently, to a support video in the coming week. So this is going to summarize any key information which was covered in the session this week, so in week 2. And he's tried to address the specific questions that you had when he went around various groups when you were working on some stuff in his session. So check out and keep an eye out for an upcoming video that will summarize any key information that you need for undertaking the assessments on that module. Now, before I keep going on, I'm going to head over to the chat and just see if we've got any questions posted so far. It's just me talking to myself at the moment, but again, I'll come back to this intermittently throughout the video. If you guys have got any questions, concerns, issues, then please do raise them, and I'll try and address them while we're here today. Okay, so moving on. We're going to head over to concepts, I believe. Yeah, so concepts and principles. Now, Jessica is still running these additional, almost like extra training or help sessions, if you like. So one of the key focuses that she's got on that little support session is as a task on interpreting and using DRVs. Now, she's provided some literature from Susan Murphy to support this task, and she's placed an announcement on Blackboard with the details about what it is that you would need to do, where you need to be next Tuesday morning if you want to attend those additional training sessions. So do go ahead and check out those things. Now, I've also then taken the opportunity to have a look on the Concepts Blackboard site, so just give me a second to just scoot across there. Let's have a quick look at the timetable before we move on. So the timetable is indicating that you guys have, again, a split session with Claire next week. So first and foremost, before I carry on, today is the deadline. So you've got concepts of nutrition this afternoon, but the deadline for outlining your critical review is this afternoon at 5 o'clock. So again, go onto this Google form. There's a link in the timetable on the Blackboard site. Fill it in and submit your critical review outline, just so that Claire knows what's going on. Now, the sessions that you've got today would be nutritional requirements, so principle and guidelines behind the requirements in nutrition. And then in the afternoon, you have a case study discussion with Claire. So the first session will be with Jessica, the second session will be Claire. Looking ahead to next week, like I said, you've got a fat session with Jessica, and then you've got a protein session with Teddy, who runs your Research Methods 1 session. So again, looking ahead towards that session, make sure you turn up, and it will really solidify the knowledge that you get in nutrition and performance. So this kind of idea of a cross-course link up there, which is real nice. But Claire has also taken the opportunity to pass on some further information with regards to this critical review. So the reason I'm encouraging you all to get your reviews submitted is simply because we've only had 38 responses for your areas of interest. So there's 68 people registered on the module. So 30 people need to pull their finger out, essentially. So let's make sure that everyone submits, especially from the SEN guys, because again, we are in an inherent and ongoing competition with global public health nutrition. I'm not going to shy away from it. I'd like to see all of the SEN guys have submitted their stuff so that we can go, Claire, we are on it with your module. Apparently Claire has already sent some personal feedback. I'm assuming this is in reference to the short knowledge test that you did. I'm still trying to chase Claire to get like an overall summary of how you guys all got on with that test, just so you guys have got a bit of context for what score you got and how does that compare to the mean standard deviation score of your peers, because it's always good to know where you sit in the grand scheme of things. Now, in terms of the topics that you have for your area of interest, Claire has very nicely put together this pie chart. This may be the first and last pie chart I ever present. Pie charts are not a thing within the scientific community, but does a good job of describing what exactly how many people are going to be doing each section. So, is the calorie broken? So we're looking at about a fifth of people have chosen that topic. It's nice. It's lots of things to talk about on that one. I'd say the biggest biggest section we've got here, probably about 25% of students here. Can food and lifestyle choices help prevent cancer? The next one, so this is Claire's kind of area of expertise, if you like. It's kind of, we have a Fighter Cloud research group type thing that's going on at the university, so that could be a good one to do. Claire's done a few books on this as well, so an easy win if you ask me, but there we are. What impact does nutrition have on babies' neonatal development? My son basically eats whatever he decides to. That is my thought process on that, but there is obviously a lot of information that you could get into on that discussion. Be interesting to see if any SEN students take that one up. I think a few people did a neonatal early development type nutrition project last year on this module from the SEN guys, which is fine. What are the challenges encountered when following dietary guidelines, brackets, or interventions? Again, another big one here. Now, you guys could take this from a sport and exercise nutrition perspective. So you've got the dietary guidelines that you might have for a population, but you've also got your client or an individual who's smashing out, 300, 400 kilometers on the bike as a conservative amount of training that someone might do on the bike. Another section here is personalized nutrition in the future. Now, this surprised that not more people have taken this up, since you could have a nice kind of genotype, sort of genetic outlook on this. I talk a little bit about this in terms of the CY1AP gene. I think I've got that wrong. Never mind. Is the gene involved with caffeine metabolism. And finally, is the immune system the center point in health and disease, / sporting performance. You guys will get a nice lecture on immune function in advanced performance nutrition next semester from a guy called Dr. Glenn Davison, who's a senior lecturer at the University of Kent. So I'm not surprised not many people have taken this up. It seems like a daunting prospect, but nutrition plays a big key role in immune function in trained athletes. So there is a lot of information out there if you're a little bit apprehensive if you were going to find anything. So yeah, get your submissions in if you haven't done so already. She's then giving me a little bit of information as to, what you're going to do in terms of the new information that you've got. So you'd start with a PICO or a problem. So identify the problem. Is there an intervention? Is there an indicator for that particular problem? Is there a control or a comparison that you can make? And is there an outcome of interest? So what is your question? And then can you start with a PICO analysis in order to get you to get the ball going? So I'm sure Claire is going to present this slide to you this afternoon. So you've just got a bit of an exclusive here because you watched the SEN stream, and that's a good thing. So do take the chance to submit the proposal if you haven't done so already, and get stuck into the coursework one when you can, because it will come creeping up, and before you know it, you'll have to hand it in. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, let's head back over to the chat, see if there's any questions floating around. Okay, no questions yet. You're all quiet or not watching, so that's fine. Again, I'll encourage anyone who is watching, if you've got a question, please ask. Okay, let's head back over to the modules overview outline for the week. So we've got Pat's session as well coming up. So in this session, I've just realized that I've missed out research methods for health sciences, but I'll come back to that in a second. 2 sections, writing a nutrition essay. So this has obvious value, if you like, for your coursework 1 for concepts and principles. That's being run by Jessica, so take the opportunity to head across there. Regina's going to be carrying out a pre-sys and summarizing technical papers. You guys will come across a lot of technical papers throughout your time here, so it can always be daunting to try and explain what could be, a 20-page complicated, complex paper in a few sentences in the introduction or discussion of your thesis, for example. Or if you're trying to summarize a paper that's kind of key to your research area for your concepts paper, again, it can be quite challenging to do that. So head across to the Pat session. Regina's going to give you a little bit of a few tips and hints as to how you might go about doing that. So check it out and go from there. While we're on this topic of research methods for health sciences 1, let's head across. Let's have a quick look at what is going on next week in this module. So this week you would have had sampling methods for qualitative studies. Now, sport and exercise nutrition students tend to scoff at qualitative studies, but every time you ask someone how they feel, for example, an RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion, or if you use a feeling scale, a +5 to -5 rating of perceived exertion, you are essentially doing a qualitative study there. You're trying to use a quantitative measure to determine how someone's feeling. Now, there is value in doing qualitative studies, and it's not always immediately apparent to SEN guys, but hopefully Liza gave you a little bit of insight as to how you could apply that in different ways, in different contexts. So moving into week 3, Teddy is going to be taking you into some stats on SPSS. Now, this will be sampling methods for quantitative studies. Now, this would be descriptive stats, type of data, measures of central tendency, and measures of variation. All of your analysis, if you're using a quantitative method, so you're trying to derive a number from the variable of interest, you will be then using descriptive statistics to try and characterize a group of participants, for example. So if you have a group of participants who are taking part in a research project, you're going to be using descriptive stats in order to show what's their mean height and weight, what's their BMI, what's their VO2 max, what's their power output at lactate threshold, what was their running speed at VO2 max, what was their grip strength, what was their 1RM on a bench press, you know, lots of different factors. All of the data that you would likely collect during your dissertation would be summarized as descriptive statistics of some way. Now, you might present the mean, but the spread of that mean could be quite big. So that could be the mean plus standard deviation. But what is standard deviation? What does that mean? So hopefully Teddy in this session will go through these sampling methods for quantitative studies. I'd encourage you to follow up on the readings for this one because it's such a key topic. So he's given some readings from last week, and he's given some stats exercises to be completed, and also a couple of readings for you to follow up on. So your stats is difficult for everyone. If you think, oh, I'm really intimidated by stats, everyone is. I get intimidated by stats when I first come to it, but I've just got a bit more experience because I've been doing it for a longer time. So the best way to tackle that fear is to just get stuck into the tutorials and stuck into the learning materials, and make sure that you ask your peers questions. Make sure you ask Teddy questions during the sessions and any demonstrators that you might have who's taking place in that as well. So get yourself across there and get involved as always. Now, if we move it on. Okay. I'll mention this now, and then I'm going to come back to it at the end of the stream today. But essentially, I need some course representatives. Now, I don't have any official documents to pass on to you just yet because I need to find them first. But basically, I'd be looking for 3 people. Okay, so I need one person from the full-time course that's just started this September. I need one person who's taking the part-time course in year 1. And for the part-time year 2 students, I need someone from your cohort as well. Now, basically, I'm very keen to ensure that we get a representative student voice on the course. So basically, how's everything going is the question, is what I usually pose to students. Now, as a course rep, it would kind of be your responsibility to get a representative voice of what is going on in the course. Now, if you think a particular module is not running very well, that would be the perfect forum of which students can provide feedback as to how it is they would like to see it improve. So it's not a moan fest. Moaning isn't helpful. Whereas identifying problems and suggesting solutions to the teaching staff so that we can try and address and move forward is. Now, as a course rep, it would be your responsibility to make sure that that viewpoint is representative of the whole student body on the course, particularly if it's the full-time course, part-time course, year 1, 2, whatever it is. So if you're interested in doing this, then the way this is going to work is that please send me an email. Let me know that you're interested in doing it. Then we're going to basically generate an election, if you like, where you can put a short summary of how you feel like you would be suitable for the role. We'll put you forward, we'll get a vote out there, and then once the student votes have gone in, we'll get some course representatives. What will you need to do from there? There will be training provided by the student union. Again, I'll pass this on so that you can attend it. But essentially, I'll arrange some meetings with you sort of midpoint in the semester, and in semester 1 and midpoint in semester 2. And it would kind of be your responsibility to just attend the meeting and have a chat with me about what is going on the course, what's going well, what's going bad, how could it be improved. So if you're interested, let me know, get in touch, and we'll go from there. I'm just checking the chat. Okay, excellent. We have a question. I think it's a question. Yes. Victoria Newbold. Hi, Vicky. Nice to see you. Are the PAT session being recorded on Panopto? The answer is I don't know. What I would say on that front, though, is, and I know you've asked me this before, and I apologize, but the PAT sessions are not hugely set up for being that well recorded on a Panopto session, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't be. So you've reminded me again, so thank you. I'll get in touch with Regina and just ask if it's possible for the sessions to be recorded. Could it be recorded and then shared on maybe the course sites, for example? So leave it with me. There are definitely some sessions that lend themselves to being recorded on Panopto. It's just the more interactive sessions, it's just going to be a buzz of noise in the room, which isn't very, it's not very Panopto friendly. So leave it with me. I will definitely try and get in touch with Regina just to see if that would be possible, particularly on the sessions leading up. We got the session with Jessica on the essay structure stuff. I think that would probably go down well. So leave it with me, and I'll get in touch with them. Now, I'm glad it makes sense. Excellent, fantastic. Now I'm going to move it on. If anyone has any further questions, jump in. I will definitely return to it as we move through the stream. So let's head back to our guiding. I've run out of slides, which is not a good sign. So what that means is it's time for tweet of the week. Now, let's head. Oh, well, I'll come back to that in a second. But my tweet of the week this week comes from the IOC Diploma in Sports Nutrition. Now, this chap here, Professor John Hawley. John Hawley is a bit of a big hotshot name in the whole sport and exercise nutrition world. Now, he's actually a biochemist. He's a molecular biologist, if anything. He just happens to circulate within the sport and exercise nutrition world. So he uses sports, exercise, and nutrition to look at healthy like the way that the body responds from a physiological perspective to aid health and well-being, but also from a sporting perspective as well. John Hawley is actually the husband of Louise Burke, though they keep their separate names because of their fantastic publication record. So, but what's basically the video here? So first of all, I'm drawing your attention to the IOC Diploma in Sports Nutrition. It's a different qualification, but it's a step down from an MSc. So if you were stressing out on that front, don't worry, your qualification supersedes it. But what they do is have some nice speakers. Now, some of the speakers on this channel, they're only a little short questions, but here we can see John Hawley. Here's Gethin Evans from Manchester Metropolitan University. We've got James Morton here. He's a prof now, so James Morton. Again, the reason I'm bringing him up is because these people will likely be present at the ISENC conference. So if you were interested to find out more about the speakers that are going to be there, then head across to the IOC Diploma in Sports Nutrition and have a look. Now, the question posed in the top tweet here is that what is the hot topic in nutrition currently? So have a look, see what John has to say about the matter, and what from one of the guys who's at the top of his field right now, what's his perception of what is the most important hot nutrition topics that are currently taking place. So head across, have a look, give them a follow, interact with them. They're a good bunch, largely UK academics. I mean, John Hawley and Louise Burke are from Australia, but largely UK-based academics that contribute to this channel. I'm just scrolling down because we've got a few other people. So we've got Dr. James Betts here from Exeter University. We go a little bit further down, I believe, Dr. Ollie Whittard. Oh, here we have Javier Gonzalo, Javier from the University of Bath. He's a very promising, upcoming, younger exercise nutritionist. And here we have Dr. Ollie Whittard. He's a senior lecturer up at the University of Stirling. I did my PhD under some of his guidance, so expert in protein metabolism. So take a look on their channel. Lots of interesting little short interviews there, and also lots of interesting things that they share. So take a look and go from there. Now, moving on, I've already made an announcement about this on the course Blackboard site. But just to get absolute clarity, you guys have got an extra week's extension to sign up to the ISENC conference with the early bird student rate. Now, if you're listening to this as a part-time student, you are officially a full-time student in the eyes of the ISENC thing, simply because you would then get the same preferential rates that everybody else gets. I didn't really see how they would be able to find this out the other way. So if you're interested in signing up, you need to do that as soon as possible. And I've given instructions as to how you would go about doing that on the course Blackboard site. So head across to the course Blackboard site and have a look, get signed up and go from there. Some of you were asking last week about whether I would be attending the conference. I've just submitted my application for a staff development program, which basically would mean, if they approve it, would mean I would be able to go. So I will keep you updated as to whether, you know, the higher beings in our department would allow me to do that. I'm skeptical myself, but we can only ask. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know, and we can go from there. So again, I'm fairly keen to go and find out, and yeah, there is lots that I will learn at this conference as well, and that's kind of how I've sold it. So I've seen 10 of you have registered already. If you would like to follow up on that registration, pay the fees, please do so. Let me know. I know a lot of you have let me know already. I've got a list of the people who have registered, but sign up. Great opportunity. Get involved and let me know you're going. And hopefully there'll be a nice little Westminster contingency there, sort of shouting from the rooftops about how good our course is. So let's get there and get involved. So I'm going to move it on. So I also like to involve some form of development program. There's one other thing that I've completely forgot about that I'll just need to find. But continuing professional development is a very real thing in most people's lives, and the university is hoping to try and support that. Now, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see it. So the University of Westminster has this CES mentoring scheme. Now, the mentoring scheme you can sign up to, so it's basically for students level 5 and above, for second year students all the way up to level 7. I think I'm pretty certain PhD students could probably do this as well. Now, I only found out about this this morning, and the application close is tomorrow. Okay, so if you are interested in taking part in this program, please get your application submitted by tomorrow. So what is it? It's essentially a partnering program where you get partnered with an individual within a professional sector, and it's an opportunity for you to develop your career aspirations. So find out a little bit more about working and being in professional environments from people who already exist within those environments themselves. Now, you can find out more about the scheme by clicking on the link. So I'll make this available on the course Blackboard site, and you can find out how to apply and move on from there. Now, they've asked for a few more nutrition links there. So I'm going to take the opportunity to try and pass on some nutrition links to ensure that if you are successful on the mentoring scheme, that you actually get linked up with the right kind of people. But I think in your application, just be open to being a bit more flexible as to the professional mentor that you get linked up with, because they're transferable skills. What they're doing at Sony, what they're doing at Bloomberg, what they're doing at Google are all applicable. You will give you fantastic insight. So I encourage those that are interested in developing their careers at an early stage to get involved with this program as soon as they can, really. So there we go. Okay, so I'm going to take the opportunity. I have some more information here on a PowerPoint slide. So again, I'll make this available on the university on the Blackboard site. So I'm going to take the opportunity to just head back over here. We'll put something fairly neutral up in the background just while I have a look for something. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to find what I was going to share with you. That's hugely unhelpful. 1 second. So I got you all to fill in your Who's Who guide. And I just thought I'd show you what this looks like. So I think I got 18 responses in total. And I managed to put this together into a little Who's Who guide for the 2019. So clearly I just need to change that group. But that'll be you guys. So you can see here's a map of all the responders and where they had indicated where they had come from. And if you submit a picture like Alex has done here, each person has got their own little profile with their responses that they've submitted here. So you can see Alex Platt from the UK, performance nutrition, but also very interested in the small amount of clinical nutrition I've taken in. So much reading, not enough time. Welcome to my life. So you can see here, if you've submitted a biography, go and have a look. So Ed, we talked about this, Ed. No response. It's okay. I know you're keen. I know you're interested. We might be able to tease a little bit more information about you moving forward, but it's okay. I would say if you haven't had a chance to submit anything via the autobiographies page and you would like to be part of this, you need to do so as soon as possible, because I'm going to make this live on the Blackboard site as within the next week. So at least it means that if you've seen a person floating around the room and you're not quite sure what they're interested in, then at least you can have a look. So here we can see, I've seen a question from Victoria, so I hope she's still looking. We can see that she's interested in muscle protein synthesis, fat metabolism, body composition, gut microbiome, and genomics. Actually, this could be a long list. Indeed, we've already covered, half the course there in just one section. So have a look. Also, I've included at the end a little staff directory. You can see there's links here to the staff pages on the website. So if you're interested in finding out more about a particular member of staff you've spoken to, be a good way of doing it. So I will post that on the Blackboard site next week. If you are desperate to get involved with this and you haven't submitted your autobiography submission yet, then let me know as soon as possible and we can go from there. Okay. We are coming to the end of the stream. I don't have much more to share with you, and I'm fairly certain I've covered everything. If there is any more questions, now would be a fantastic time to post them. But other than that, hope you're enjoying the course so far. If there is any concerns, queries, questions, please feel free to email me and I'll try and do something about them. But other than that, I hope you are looking forward to week 3. You've got some assessments that are coming up on the horizon. My plan for next week would be to try and get Claire in an interview. Now, that could be a live interview or it might be a recorded interview just because Claire is super busy. So if it's a recorded interview, then I'll play it live through the stream, assuming I can figure out how to do that. I think I've got a good idea. And then we could have a follow-up session afterwards with just any questions or queries that you might have. But essentially, just getting Claire in to give you a little bit of insight as to how you could possibly do as best as you can on the first coursework coming up on concepts and principles of nutrition. So, but I think we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for those. So Vicky, only question today. I think the change in time has probably thrown a few people, but hopefully you'll pick up on the information when you watch it afterwards. But again, I've seen, I've got 50, 60 views on the SEN stream so far. So you guys are clearly engaging with the content, and just chatting with you so far, it's been really encouraging to see that you guys are watching and you find it useful. So if you've got any recommendations of stuff you'd like to see, or if there's something that I could pick up on more of, then let me know. But other than that, take it easy. Enjoy the session this afternoon with Claire, and roll into next week and have a successful time. Take it easy, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.